Hey folks, this is Wistful Deal here, and welcome to the final part of The Grand Decline. This is the third and final part of the album that I'm going to be showcasing and expressing my feelings and everything. We're going to go through the last visits here, just like before with what I did with the previous two parts. If you folks haven't seen the previous two parts before, I'll leave both links to them in the description below so you folks can go ahead and watch them and check them out before going over to this part here. I know that this video here is very long, probably one of the longest that I've done, clocking in at over 2.5 hours. I didn't mean for it to be that long, but I don't really know any other way how to express myself without taking a lot of time. And while I may ramble and go in circles from time to time, I overall generally mean, the best and everything with myself. No, I'm not the best explainer or expresser or whatever, but this overall project that I've been showcasing to you folks and everything does mean something to me. And the reason I've split all of this into three separate videos instead of all in one is that it would have been too much for me. It would have been too much of a headache, and it would have been too much for me to keep track of and everything. So that's why I split this up into three parts specifically so that I can cover them much easier and everything instead of doing it all in one entire thing. This is definitely one of the bigger projects or bigger series of videos that I have done so far, with thinking of each visit, taking my time with them and everything, and then covering on them, expressing my feelings on the music, the album cover and everything, and overall showcasing or highlighting the certain songs within that visit that gets me a feeling specifically. Much like before with the other two parts and everything, folks, I am going to be also linking the wiki cover page that I've been linking down, so you folks can go ahead and check that out if you want to or whatever. And overall, folks, I hope you all take something from this. I know this is a very long video again and everything, but overall, this project here means something to me, along with the other albums and other stuff that I'm going to be covering here on the channel. And yeah, maybe looking back at it now, I probably was a bit too rambly, especially on the ending here and everything. But like I said, I don't really know how any other way to really express my feelings and everything. But with all that being said and everything, let's get this last train started with Visit 25, and I'll see you folks on the other side. Let's jump on in. Okay, one last thing before we actually get into the project. The last thing that I want to say to you folks before we jump in, because I forgot, is that this is, yet again, like I've said before in my previous two parts, but I'll say it again here, that this is something very real. It's something very serious, and it's something that is very raw. If you folks may be a bit more on the sensitive side, or if you're not in a good place mentally or psychologically or whatever, maybe come back to this video another time. This video is not for the faint of heart, and it is something, again, that's very real and very serious. And believe me when I say that this is not going to be an easy video. It gets super rough and tough and everything. So, with all that said, folks, let's jump on in. Here we are, folks, with Visit 25. Visit 25 to me is, well, confusion fully and finally settled in completely and fully. It's, well, everything is pure chaos and everything, and nothing else even makes sense anymore. I feel this perfectly represents with the art cover for this visit, which is a broken out light that is popped and is smoking and on fire and everything, which I find interesting because in light bulbs, right? If they heat up too much or get too hot, they'll explode and pop off and leave a little mini explosion like a firework or something, right? I feel like this represents here of the current state of sanity or the mind at hold. Well, everything finally came to a boiling point and now chaos is purely all over the place and everywhere. With the smoke and bits of fire on the wires and everything, I feel that this is the representation of the patient's mind finally just exploding and popping like a balloon. We also get faulty recall, actually two faulty recalls. First, we get faulty recall 13 in this, which is a vague guitar play in the background with super heavy static. There's something familiar with the music that you can click with, but it's also very vague and very distant as well. It's definitely a broken, shattered memory. And as I said before, we also have two faulty recalls. We also meet up with faulty recall 14 as well, which has a vocal performance in it. But as with speech and cognition, you can't understand a word that they're saying. The echoey effect and everything adds a mysterious ambience to it and everything. And overall, Visit 25 is a jumbled up, confusing mess of sounds and noise and everything. Pretty much like any post-awareness album or track. We also get the second cover for Visit 25, which I am not entirely sure what it even is exactly. I've looked at this hard and everything to try and get what it is, but it's still hard for me to kind of grasp on what this could possibly be. Maybe you folks in the comments can tell me below on what this is or what it's meant to represent, but I'm entirely unsure. But anyway, folks, that is pretty much all there is to say for this visit here. Let's move on over to Visit 26, folks. Visit 26 here, folks, is where the memories have calmed down and taken a back seat. The overall vibe and feeling I get with Visit 26 is more of a calmer ambience towards it. There's still the confusion and post-awareness and everything, but things aren't really necessarily so in your face and everything. Things are more relatively calm and have taken more of a backseat. The confusion in of itself has taken a backseat, and the overall ambience of the confusion is more mellow and lower in a sense in this one. More soft and everything. That's how I feel with at least this first part here. And speaking of first parts here, this first cover here at Visit 26 is a bunch of lights all connected in some way. Some shorter and higher than others. A bunch of lights. I feel this represents the patient's neuron system in the brain and how everything is still intact. Yet the confusion still remains in everything, and things are still relatively broken, yet everything's still connected, intact, and everything. That's my best theory and guess on this and everything. It also kind of looks like a night sky of connecting stars together. I don't know, maybe it's just me. But anyway, we also get Faulty Recall 14, not 14, 15, excuse me. And this is where the cover changes as well. The second part of Visit 26 seems to be a bit more confusing and up higher and everything, but still overall relatively mellow and everything. Faulty Recall 15 is where the memories have is well, the song is super vague and everything. It feels very broken and very distorted. Also, funny enough, with Visit 26 here, this cover here, this is also the same as the profile picture of the creator here. Just a little fun, lighthearted to point that out. And as for the cover itself, I feel that this is a close-up of either a firecracker or some kind of bomb or something ready to explode or it's gonna explode. I'm entirely unsure what this could exactly mean, given the fact that we saw a broken, burned out light bulb at back in the last visit, Visit 25. And I'm kind of unsure what this could exactly mean. My guess is that maybe this is the second array of explosion about to come, or that is gonna come. But either way, Visit 26 is where things are relatively mellow and calm, only for a brief moment. But anyway, folks, that's pretty much all I need to say with Visit 26. Let's move on over to 27. Visit 27 is not only the continuation going back up with the horrors and confusion and everything, but I felt like this is the point where the memories and the recollection and everything are eating away, shredding away at the patient's pure sanity. I feel this represents the art cover for this visit, which I'm entirely unsure what it could exactly be. Maybe it's the brain upside down or something. It's entirely unsure. But with this red, if you look closely here on this part here, with this red here, this to me seemingly seems like blood, along with blood over here and stuff. There seems to be crosses or some metal sticks pointed down in or whatever. I'm entirely unsure what it could be. Maybe it's just part of the organ inside the patient's body or something. Maybe this is their brain at the current state and the upside downness is to add even more confusion towards it. Who entirely knows? But anyway, folks, regardless, the songs in this visit are back to the post-awareness that we all know and love to hate, with the confusion and everything all over the place, even more so than back in Visit 25. One thing that interests me, though, well, two things actually, but the first thing that interests me is the Faulty Recall in this visit. Faulty Recall 16. There's something weirdly ominous yet interesting about this track here of Faulty Recall 16. And what my theory is that this is based on... I feel this is based on, the patient's childhood back at a circus. When they were a child or something, or maybe a dream at some point, and they think it's real or something, maybe. But yeah, the song in this visit here, this Faulty Recall here, it sounds like it's being played on a super old radio, all staticky and everything. It's honestly overall creepy and chilling and everything. But one thing that stands out to me with Visit 27 is the ending in this. There's a track called The Seinen Meal in this. And the album... Okay, there we go. I was going to say, the album cover changes. And what we get with this is a meal that changes. First it's black and blank. With the confusion still present and everything. Yeah, it changes. So the cover changes and now the mail is light up and everything, but everything's blurred up and everything, scribbled over. It looks like a chalkboard, honestly. But the creepy thing that happens with this is that the ending to this, and I feel that this is a clarity moment here. Other than just the confusion. I feel that's the clarity moment here. Well, the patient sees themselves and they get to see how far they've sunken below and everything. I can't help but think of, whenever I see this part here and everything, I can't help but think of the other Alzheimer's folks that have done self-portrait drawings of themselves, and to see how far their condition is based on doing self-portraits of themselves. I forgot what this artist's name is and everything, but he was a brilliant man and everything. I forgot what his name was, but he did a self-portrait of himself all the way back in like 2002, 3 or something like that. And it was just based on a napkin. And the only thing that remained was just an outer shell of a face. Just a simple sketch of his face. And that would horrifyingly be it. He didn't die until like 2007. I forgot what his name is, but I think of patients and artists and stuff like that whenever I see this, honestly, because this is the moment where, I guess in some form of clarity, the patient has a clarity, I guess, not like a we remember or anything clarity, but an actual clarity in a sense. And they're seeing themselves in the mirror, and it's honestly chilling to see at the idea of looking at yourself in the mirror and just seeing yourself as this. It's utterly chilling and terrifying and creepy. But anyway, with all that, folks, we're gonna move on over to Scene 7. Scene 7, the Ephemeral Firmament. Visits 28 to 31. Scene 7, Pandemonium, consists of extended segments of complete mental unawareness. The patient's sanity takes a massive landslide, now requiring constant aid and supervision. Alongside painful treatments, individuality is lost. Attempting at individuality recall is no longer at the forefront as the fight for the mind is at its peak. Bliss shifts from peace to emptiness. We are within the eye of the storm. Welcome to the 7th scene, folks, and welcome to Visit 28. Visit 28 to me is the boiling point where the rupture and post-awareness becomes such a peak to where it becomes painfully exhausting and everything. I feel this speaks for the art cover of this visit here, which is a decayed tea kettle pot with some kind of fungus pink theme appearing off of it. I feel this represents the mind legit being on fire and is screaming in agony. The mind represents the water in the pot of boiling water here, and it's about ready to burst. That's how I feel I get from this. You know, like with the tea kettle, how the whistle will start playing when it starts getting too hot and everything. There'll be the whistle and steam coming out. I feel like we've reached this point here with Visit 28 and with the sounds and everything. The mine is legit ready, about to burst like a pot of boiling water. That's my ultimate take on it. And the decay of the tea kettle and everything is a representation of things rotting away, along with this as a representation of the psychological smoke that's not only fogging up the patient's mind and everything, but it's about ready to burst in explosion here. This is going to make sense for the next visit that we go over here. One of the things I want to point out with Visit 28 here, folks, is not only the faulty recalls, but a certain track between the faulty recalls. Faulty Recall 17, I think, yeah, Faulty Recall 17, is nothing more than ambient static with some weird noises here and there coming in and out, which gives an overall creepy and eerie feeling. But the track that really stands out to me for a specific reason is in the fourth track, Amphitheater. There's something unique about this track. It starts off as your typical post-awareness rupture track and everything, with nothing making any sense, static in the way, and overall confusion and rupture taking the forefront. But something happens around the ending of this track, and it's too good to not pass it. I firmly believe that this is a clarity here within this. Hopefully I can find it here. It's around the ending here. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, this is the special, unique thing about this as we listen to this here. The music will start to change, and as the music changes, this tune appears and plays in, and before you know it, it's at the forefront, and it's truly a beautiful track. Although it's very chilling at this part, because at some sections you can hear the confusion and rupture still break in through a bit, despite this beautiful, wholesome moment of bliss and clarity here. It's truly beautiful and amazing. But alas, nothing can last forever, folks, as this is only a temporary bliss state here, depressingly enough. And before you know it, we'll sink right back into the storm that we've been desperately trying to run away from, and that is depressingly our reality in life now, folks. The song will play and fade. Yeah, that's truly soul crushing. That sudden drop. And then followed up by this, we meet up again with Faulty Recall again. Faulty Recall 18. Which is confusing and staticky, with a voice you can barely even understand or even get at. Can't even understand what the voice is saying because everything's so jaded and mixed up and everything. But overall, I feel Visit 28, I was about to say 27. I overall feel Visit 28 is the boiling point of where confusion is truly at its peak. But nothing can ever prepare you folks for this next visit here. I truly mean it, brace yourself, folks. It's going to be a real hell of a ride for this next one. So, with all that said, folks, let's jump on into Visit 29. You may want to turn down your volume a bit. Yeah, welcome to Visit 29, folks. Or as I like to call it, pure hell. Actual, legit Dante Inferno here with this. I think the music can definitely speak for itself, but yeah, it doesn't get any spicier than this, folks. This is the Ghost Pepper Visits. Jeez. I hope everything's good with the volume and everything. I hope this isn't blaring in your guys' face. But yeah, this is what I meant by turning down your volume. Alright, so anyway, welcome to Visit 29. Yeah, Visit 29 is just pure, utter hell and torture. The music, obviously, if you can even call it music anymore at this damn point, is so ruptured and so in your face and so loud and everything at this point that it's pure torturous and everything. I don't even know what the hell I'm even looking at with this first cover here, honestly. It's very raw and rough and everything, with this seemingly solid structure here at this bottom of this thing. But as you come up here, actually I didn't notice that before now looking at it, but now looking up here, things are very harsh and everything. It's very super rough, and yeah, the music's just so fragmented and disconnected. You can't understand a single goddamn thing what's going on. I don't even understand what this even is, honestly, but it's sure as hell extremely rough. I think this up here was a pickaxe, I think. I say was because it's a pure guess and no more. But yeah, the music is very rough and everything. This visit starts off with Dead Reckoning. But yeah, random noises play and everything. Everything's so jaded all over the place. We also get Faulty Recall 19 in this. Which is just pure noise. It's practically the same thing as all the other tracks in this visit. Everything's all over the place with these horns and everything. It's pure torturous. Senseless neurons. Yeah, I think there's a clarity in, well, maybe not in, in seeping red into night. I think there's some brief clarity in it that just pops in. I think it's at the middle. I think. I'm not entirely sure if I can find it or not. There it is. Yeah, he just roughly cuts in and out. Yeah, this is pure hell. Truly. And then we have Roses, which I think there's a clarity in it, maybe? I'm not too sure. But anyway, folks, we have the last Faulty Recall 20, which is just soul crushing more than anything. The cover has changed, obviously, over. I feel that this cover here is the same cover from Faulty Recall 10 and Faulty Recall not Photo Recall 10, Photo Recall 10 and Visit 2, excuse me. But everything's so washed out, it's like you can't even make it. I feel the only reason I have this theory in my head that this is the same tree from Photo Recall 10 and Visit 2 is this down here. If you look closely, you can kind of see the branch, maybe? The root or whatever branch. But everything up here, it legit looks like mold folding in on the cover in of itself. It's legit like black mold folding in. And I feel this represents the total chaotic state of our patient's mind and everything. Well, everything's becoming such apparent that all the colors are just mixing in together. It's like as if mixing plate. I don't know if you folks ever did this, but as a side note, when I was a kid, a lot of the times when I was young, I would get all the different colors of Play-Doh, and I would just mix all the colors together just to see what whole color it would make. I know that doesn't have to do anything with this topic here or dementia or anything, but I feel like that's kind of a prime example of what it's like. Well, all the colors are mixing in together now, pretty much, and now basically we're left with a confusing mixture of bits and fragments of the color, but the whole overall new color is mixed in with all of the other colors combined. I don't know if you folks ever did that with Play-Doh, but that's what I did back then for some reason. And all of the colors would have no individuality of themselves. The blue, the red, the green, the purple, the orange, the yellow, brown, freaking gray, whatever the hell. It would all just be mushed in together, all collective as one whole thing. And I feel like this represents this visit to me more than anything. Well, everything is mushed in together now, and we're all just one hellish color. We also have the second or third cover, I guess, with this visit here. This here, to me, I'm not entirely sure what this is. It looks like a blob thing, either being pulled in by this hole here, this portal thing here. My theory is that this thing here is the portal, or rather the descending to the start of the emptiness and everything. You folks are going to see with the next visit here. And if you look over at this blob brain mush thing, whatever, you can look down here. It looks like what appears to be legs, or because like you can kind of see legs here, maybe a shoe. And this one looks like this guy's like this with his arm over here and his legs clenched or something, maybe. I'm entirely unsure, but Visit 29, this part here as well, is a bit more calmer than freaking that of the first part here. And that's also what this final Photo Recall does. It's the bridge between the chaotic state and, well, things start to die down. Eventually things will start to die down and things are depressingly a bit calmer than in the first part of Visit 29. But folks, with all that being said and out of the way, let's move on over to Visit 30. Visit 30, to me, is the beginning of the emptiness. The point where we start to descend into the emptiness void and everything. No more confusion or distortion. Well, there still is, but we start coming down a bit, is what my whole point is here, what I'm trying to get at here. Kind of like a roller coaster. What goes up must come down. I feel like this is the first part and where we start to come down and everything, and where confusion takes a toll from being painfully all over the place to where it's just pure nonsense and making no sense, to where we start descending towards darkness and just pure emptiness of nothing, really. That's why I feel visit 30 starts us off here with this. And also on my theory as to whatever the hell that blob thing is back in visit 29, the second or third part of it, descending into that whole piece thing here on that floor there of that cover. But anyway, folks, this cover here appears to be a rotten tree of some sort with some figurines or something on the table, and possibly a couple or something over underneath this table bookshelf tree thing. My theory is that this is the whole main root of the patient, and the tightest of memories that they've kept together and everything for the past years or so, despite the condition, is starting to burn away and everything and rot away. It's directly hitting us at the core, or I guess rather, this is all core in a sense as a tree, and the tree is molding away because of the disease's parent and everything. My theory on this. Visit 30 is more calm, much more calmer than Visit 29. But the confusion and everything is still there and everything. The confusion will appear in and out, but things are a bit more mellow. And things start to become more mellow and everything. There's also the second cover for this. And one of the highlights, I feel, actually, does this happen here with this here? Yeah, it does. I forgot to mention that, and I don't think it's with any of the other visits past this, or before this, but starting with this visit here, the covers here, as you can see, will now statically shift over to the next cover here. This goes the same for the visits as well. What the heck was that? A glitch or something? But anyway, the covers will shift over like that. And this is the same with visits as well and everything. So everything will shift over gradually over to the next cover, regardless if it's the next visit or not. But the other visits besides Visit 30 won't do this. Visit 30 as well, this starts to happen. But anyway, one of the tracks that I want to point out is in the fifth one, Photo Album, which I think is a 30-minute track, I believe. A 20-minute track, actually, or something. 20, 25 or so. But I feel like this is a good representation of late-stage Alzheimer's, or at least at the turning point of late-stage Alzheimer's. Folks, at this point, we're starting to enter into critical stage 7 of Alzheimer's. Well, emptiness starts to take a toll and everything, and confusion turns from the confusion and chaotic mess to emptiness. Stage 6 and everyone at the end of time, if you will. You know, I call it the void part or oblivion part, where sounds start to become utter emptiness. And like I said, this is the beginning of it and everything. Lastly, I will say about Visit 30 is this cover here looks to be a huge thick black log or tree emerging or appearing from the roof, along with two dog tags or something down here. I'm not entirely sure what this could mean. I think this resembles the social circle, maybe, possibly, and the disease has become such apparent that it's affecting their life and everything. I guess maybe this could be memories in a sense, because this black log here is like growing fungus that's growing over, and it's like a very bad evil root or tree or something that's just appearing and growing over, and it's affecting the family tree or the memories of the patient in some sense or something here. That's my only theoretical best guess with this. But anyway, as of now, that's pretty much all I have to really say for this visit here let's move on over to Visit 31. Visit 31 is pretty much similar to Visit 30, just more distorted and more empty. As I said before, starting with Visit 30 in the last visit, Visit 30, the emptiness starts to shift here, but there's still the confusion and everything still there and everything, despite the increasingness of the emptiness and everything. This starts off with pretty much Visit 30. But anyway, folks, we're at Visit 31 now, and I don't really have too much to really say with Visit 31, honestly, except the ending. It's pretty much, like I said before, the same with Visit 30, just gradually more empty tracks and everything, and more of a shift and everything. Still relatively there and everything. Can still hear sounds and everything, but they're softer compared to Visit 30. And as for the cover in this hill, I am not entirely sure. Is it just me, or do I get an outer space feel to this? Like a set of horror being on the moon or something, like a horror moon creepypasta or something in this. Because that's what this kind of looks like to me here. Some form of two buildings or ships or whatever that's kind of connected together, with one of the ships or buildings broken or something in some sense. And with the sky here, I feel that this represents the further emptiness of the patient, or the decaying, falling part of this weird structure in this piece here, seemingly broken off or something. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not the best explainer, but that's what my best guess is that it's some form of property or some representation of the patient or the patient's loved one or something, them together, and it's gradually fading away, and the feeling of being on the moon and in outer space or something, completely alienated from actual planet Earth or something. I'm not entirely sure. That's my best guess here with this. There's two creepy factors with this here. The first factor is that the cover changes in the fourth track, All Became One. And this is where, like, this track is horrifying and very unnerving. A pure confusion mixture, and it's legit, like, this cover here looks like H.P. Lovecraft shit here. To me, it looks like a bunch of faces, or a bunch of ghosts as faces, or whatever, at some window, or TV, whatever, or all horrifyingly muffled in together, as the title suggests here in this song, All Became One. I don't really know what this little guy over here at the corner of this of this cover is exactly, but overall, this track is very unnerving and chilling. But what I feel is even more chilling and even depressing is in the ending of this visit and scene here, with this track here, this song here, Exiled from Gaia's Reach. Some folks have called this the second meal, or scene in meal 2, which can be understandable here. Man, I knew the cover change was slow, but not this slow. It's boosted up a teeny bit. But yeah, this track here is overall extremely chilling. It honestly sounds like those creepy audios of falling or rising or whatever. Like if you listen to it in the sleep, you would have that effect or whatever. I forgot what it's called, but that's what this sounds like. And the cover has shifted over very slowly, but shifted over to I feel this is the patient hill, honestly, and it's just depressing as hell. Some folks may say this is him giving up. I feel like this is the point where the patient sinks in to, well, we sink in even more to the point to, well, we've lost within even us ourselves. A sinking in with a sinking in, if you will. Because with post-awareness and everything, yeah, we sunken in. But I feel like this is the turning point where we sink in even further within ourselves, and like a turtle shell within the turtle shell, if you will, if that makes any sense. And I feel like this does help with the title of this song, Exiled from Gaia's Reach, where we legit, in a sense, ascend or let go, in the sense of Gaia herself, Earth herself, or whatever. Pretty much just sinking in even further than we already have. And this song chillingly ends depressingly as the cover shifts away from and turns to blackness. So with all that being said, folks, let's move on over to the 8th scene in Visit 32. Scene 8, The Great Minimal, visits 32 to 34. Akin to being stranded on an island, the patient has become lost in the fog, rarely resurfacing in primal responses. Emotion and response have shattered and scattered into an endless labyrinth whose walls stretch out to the infinities. Soul without form and body without spirit, the final emblem, broken steps toward oblivion, are taken. Welcome to the 8th scene, folks, and Visit 32. Also, welcome to Act 3 now. We're in Act 3 here with this. Visit 32 is similar to the last visit, Visit 31, only with the confusion stretched out a bit and the memories becoming more dim and more damp towards a confusion of nothingness. The first cover for this, I don't really know exactly what to exactly say. It looks like some kind of ball structure thing with some kind of pipe tube thing. I'm not entirely sure what it could exactly be. My guess is that it could possibly be a golf ball holder thing maybe, but I'm entirely unsure what it could exactly mean. My only theoretical guess is that this is in the ocean or close to an ocean water with this part here down here at the corner here. It looks like some form of black dim wave or something of a water splash. This could possibly be some lighthouse maybe, I guess, of some sort, but I'm entirely unsure what that could exactly mean or whatever. And I don't really have anything too much to really say with the first cover here. I do, however, with the second cover, though. The second cover, I feel, makes more sense. Let's skip it on over here. The second cover, though, makes more sense to me. It's a land cliff next to an ocean. I feel this resembles the patient's worlds that they're in, and that what they've been knowing through the wasteland to now sinking into the in-depths of the Confusion Ocean. I feel this is what resembles the cover in this one here, with the land and the cliff edge of between the land and the ocean, where we sink into the darkness of the ocean and legit start drowning in the oblivion or sands of time as everything eventually turns into nothing. Overall, I don't really have anything too much to really say with Visit 32, sadly. It's mainly, like I said, the same thing with Visit 31, but the sound's just being a bit more dimmed and more fallout. But anyway, folks, with all that being said and out of the way, let's move on over to Visit 33. Visit 33, to me, is, well, we're sinking in along with the ocean of darkness. From the resemblance of what we saw back in the last visit 32, folks, we are now officially not only in the ocean of oblivion, but we're sinking in along with it, like the Titanic or any tragic sinking ship story that you may have heard from or whatever in the past. I feel this is what this visit resembles with this. The first cover here, I'm entirely unsure what it is. It looks to be some sort of rock or some kind of coal piece or whatever, with some kind of fragmented paper that was there, but we can no longer recognize it. I'm entirely unsure what this could exactly mean. Maybe some form of something, and the oblivion of the water, the ocean, in a sense, is deteriorating the quality and structure of the piece. Maybe that's what the resemblance is with this. Well, in the mental ocean and everything, water does destroy and harvest and reshape things, especially from landmass that aren't originally there, and change it into something entirely different. A prime example of this is to look at the Titanic, recent photos of the Titanic, or even 10 years ago or whatever, with its weird structure or whatever that it has on now or whatever, of what the water and what the moisture has done to the metal structures of that ship and everything. Maybe that's what this resembles in a sense, I guess. That's my only best guess. And I'm entirely unsure what this long tube or wire piece could mean exactly. Maybe I'm wrong here, but that's just my ultimate best guess, honestly. So I could possibly be wrong. But yeah, the tracks in this visit here, folks, are very super vague. It's mainly just droning noises that seem kind of nauseating and very drifty-offy. It makes you feel drifty-offy, like you're in a state of limbo here. That's the take that I get from this. The second cover of this makes to me a bit more sense. Excuse me. If you folks look at it closely, it's when I feel this is either a book or a frame of something being melted and swooshed away with the environment around it. I feel this also better resembles what I said before with the Titanic ship or things originally from land being in water for long periods of time, and the water, the world of the sea takes it over and restructures it into something else. I feel that this is the resemblance of this here. My guess is that it could possibly be a book based on this little piece here exactly, but I'm entirely not sure. But whatever it is, it's legit melting away with the environment around it, like putting chocolate next to flames in a sense, and the chocolate becomes with the flames. I feel that this resembles the patient's mind and the whole world and everything, from down to the simple basic of shapes, ABCs, like some of the first stuff you learn, being melted and boiling away meltingly like a pot of fire or whatever. But yeah, the tracks are very dim and very distant and everything. There may be a bit here and there that you may be able to hear and click with, but it's not something you can understand anymore. If anything, it's just going to be bizarre and weird, and that's the only resemble of sounds you ever really get from this, when the sounds do come, if any. But anyway, folks, that is pretty much my thoughts on this visit here. Let's move on over to visit 34. Visit 34 to me is a bit confusing to me, honestly. At least this first half of it here. I may not get some things right, but I'll still explain it the best way that I can. Anyway, visit 34 is the last metaphorical light, in a sense, I guess, that the patient still holds and that has. My guess is that this perfectly resembles the cover in this visit here, which is a lamp. And I honestly was scratching my head trying to think of an explanation to this. I know this is not terminal lucidity at all, and that's what I immediately jumped to at first, but honestly, that's not the case, apparently, with this one here. My only guess is that this is the metaphorical somewhat awareness that they hold. I say somewhat because the music still isn't quite necessarily, quote, clear, but at least it's still there in something. I feel that with this visit here, we have sunk into the Mariana Trench. If you folks don't know what the Mariana Trench is, it's, at least from what I know, I could be wrong now, but allegedly, the Mariana Trench, it could be different now, but allegedly, it's said to be the deepest point in the ocean, the deepest floor point in the ocean, with over 10,475, 6, whatever meters deep or whatever, apparently. There could be a record for something deeper or whatever, but last I checked, like somewhat years ago or whatever, that's what is said to be the deepest point in the ocean and the darkest and whatnot, and it's over by Japan or something like that. I could be wrong, there might be something deeper now, but anyway, that's my theoretical guess with this visit here, is that we're now at the ocean floor, pretty much. We have officially sunk into the very bottom here, but still not quite lost, folks. The second track in this visit here is haunting, honestly, and freaky. I don't know if you folks will be able to hear it or not. I don't know if you folks can hear it, but there's a vague voice that plays. It's like a ghost ocean, from what I picture, and he's like circling around your head. I guess this could resemble some form of clarity, possibly, but I'm entirely unsure. But one interesting thing with this visit is that this lamp turns on. And honestly, I'm very confused on this because this to me, I guess, resembles clarity or lucidity pretty much, but the track doesn't sound anything but lucidity or clarity to me. Also, the title of this, Ario, whatever, I'm probably saying it wrong, I can't say it correctly. But I think this is a part of the ocean or some part of a deep ocean. Possibly what I said before with the Mariana Trench. It's something like that. Again, I could be entirely wrong. But speaking of this track is a long track going on for over 30 minutes. And it's mostly just the same ambient noise. I guess this is clarity in some sense with things being blissful and peaceful. It is probably the last time of maybe not necessarily clarity, but for sure calmness and comfort and everything in some sense, because this lamp will depressingly die out and fade away depressingly enough. Because not like things can't get any better from here, folks. The third cover of this here is a window or some kind of slide window or something that's open, and it leads into a dark area that's already dark and filled in here. My feeling is that this is where we sink in even deeper than we already have to, well, like, pretty much what this visit is, folks, is that we sink into the pit and we just fall. I know I said we've already been following, but we fall even further. We go even deeper, pretty much. And the music here has pretty much become practically ambient, just white noise in a sense, depressingly enough, where things are, well, any form of clarity is barely there, and we fade away depressingly to oblivion. One haunting thing about this visit here, folks, is the ending in this with the last track, Window Seal. It's honestly very chilling. This ambient track is very haunting and spooky to me. And if you look over here, down at this corner here, there is an outlet with a cord on it. I feel that this resembles the patient being on life support and that they're now hospitalized. And I feel that with this track here, the patient wakes up in the middle of the night on a hospital bed with tubes or whatever all over them, with the room being dark and everything, probably nighttime or whatever, everything's asleep, and the patient wakes up only to find himself completely, utterly isolated, and they're in a hospital bed. That's my theoretical guess on this one here. Also, if you look over on this side here, you may recognize this long plant here. It's actually the same plant all the way back from Visit 8, surprisingly. I feel that this resembles the isolation state that the patient feels in, or that the patient is in, whether that's through psychologically, mentally, physically, or just all of the above altogether, all at once. Either way, it's a chilling kind of haunting thing. This makes me think of legit, in a sense, a windowsill, where the patient only stares at the small windowsill, a small last bit of clarity, only to find darkness from escaping the darkness, in a sense. It's honestly quite chilling, and this last visit here, this last track here, is honestly very chilling to me, and sets up perfectly for the last scene. And speaking of the last scene, let's move on over to the last scene, Scene 9, folks. Scene 9, The Blind Veil, Visits 35 and 36. To die is to sleep with eyes open, alone and unmoving for all to come. Vitals unstable, oxygen intact low. It is 5 seconds to midnight. Welcome to the last scene of this journey, folks, and the last 2 visits here. This whole scene is depressing to me more than anything else, honestly. It's the perfect representation of things becoming such apparent to, well, there's truly, utterly nothing. Just blackness. The cover for this visit here, to me, looks to be a figure with a cube box over it. I feel that this is the representation of the mind and spirit separating, in a sense. This is my only pure take on it. The box here represents the patient's mind and how much of a small cube, and how everything's become utterly blended in like a chameleon, in a sense. Well, it just blends in with the darkness. And this humanoid figure here is a representation of the very soul of the patient. They leave their body, in the sense. They're not dead or anything, but it feels like it in a representation, in a sense, where the mind is particularly the void of oblivion and everything, and the patient astral projects or out-of-body experiences, in some sense, leaves the mind, in a sense, and ventures out to the great infinity of nothing. That's just my take on this cover here. I could be wrong, I could be right, but that's my only take on this. I really don't have anything else to really say on that. There's only 2 songs in this entire visit, but don't let that deceive you, for these 2 songs are extremely long, folks, with the first one being 42 to 43 or so minutes, and the second one being about nearly an hour with 54 minutes. I think it's down here in the description if I'm correct. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, here it is. So, anyway, folks, the first song in this visit here is utterly, depressingly Oblivion. These staticky noises and everything just blend in. Everything is super soft. Super somber and soft and everything. Everything is extremely vague. This isn't even music or even ambient music. This is just soft quietness. And that's what overall happens with Visit 35 here, is that it's a soft ambient that slowly drifts away, like a forever calming sea. The second track, not the second track, also that too, the second cover, what I really meant to say here, this cover here is honestly chilling. It shows a mirror stain, a mirror metal wall of some sort, which leads into a bed in a whole oblivion of darkness. I feel like this is the representation of the patient finally walking towards the quote deathbed in a sense, or resting in a sense. They have nowhere else to go but rest. There's nothing else really for them, depressingly or sadly. They can't, I mean, obviously, yeah, they can't really do anything, but we have become such a parent to, well, we're just in pure blackness, folks. We don't know if we're alive or dead. We don't know what's going on or what's what. There's barely even any sounds in Visit 35 here. But what we do here is honestly just, I wouldn't say drowsy, drifty is what I'm looking for. It's very drifty. Like with this track here, I could just listen to it for hours on end and not realize it's that time dilation feeling is what I'm trying to say. Well, it'll feel like 10 minutes of this song when really it's been over an hour, but it felt like 15 or so minutes. It's just the same, pretty much the same soft loop and everything if you listen closely, but overall everything's just a soft fade, and I feel like this is the representation of the patient leading over mentally to the bed, but they're not really realizing it. Also, is it me, or does it kind of look like some face of some sort here, with the eyes, maybe a nostrils here or something, maybe the bed of the mouth, I'm not too sure, maybe it's just me, but I feel like this here is a representation of the patient leaning in to truly even more of the bottom than the Mariana Trench. We're practically at the earth core, if you will, or we're just sinking, we're truly at the bottom to, well, the only thing is waiting for us now is death itself. There's nothing further. It can't get any worse than this. The only thing that the patient looks forward to is rest. And that's what this bed here, I feel, represents finally. Well, we can finally let go and finally ascend into the afterlife or reincarnate or whatever it may or may not be. But the overall point is that we are finally ready to face the sleep of eternity once and for all, after everything's been torn away from us and after everything's completely gone. But folks, there's still one more visit, so let's get into the very last visit, Visit 36. Welcome to the last visit, folks. The very last visit and the very ending of this whole project. Everything that we've been through, that we've suffered through, everything that I took you folks through for the past 2 videos of this has all led up to this very moment right here, right now, folks. The very last visit. This first cover here looks to be a sunrise or some form of sunrise on a windowsill. That's the best that I can put up with it. I'm not too entirely sure what this could exactly mean. Maybe one final shine of light before finally fading in, but I feel like that's what this first cover here honestly means to me. Like, I picture this like this looks to be like at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to me, with the with like the desert or whatever, the sand and the grass and everything, super vague and everything. Maybe this right here to the left is a street pole maybe, or some window or whatever or something, and you got clouds here and you got the sun right here just before it rises up and shines and everything. I'm not too entirely sure, but I feel like this is the last bit of life that the patient has. The very last bit of their true sanity and everything before things depressingly take a toll. That's my explanation, that's my guess, and that's my main idea and everything. Visit 36 is honestly chilling and depressing to me. Not just with the fact alone that it's the last visit and it's the end, but also with how ambient the music has truly become. It's utterly nothing, honestly. Even more so. At least with Visit 35, I feel the last visit, there was a snippet of something here, just like just a dot or two, like looking at stars in the night sky, just on city lights, that is. If you look hard enough, you may find a micro speck of a light or two of a dot in the ocean of darkness. With here, it's just blackness, like no stars in the night sky. That's how I feel. What chills me about this visit here in particular, and what I'm not going to probably ever get rid of, and that I'm sacrificing my sleep for this and getting insomnia through this, is in the second track of this visit here. This part here is bone-chilling to me, and you folks are going to see why in this. The cover has changed over to a completely darkened room, I feel, with some light over here and what looks to be some light behind a doorway or something. I feel that this represents the patient alone in the room, dying. What's chilling to me about this specific track here is the freaky utter oxygen noise that comes. Maybe if I move it over a bit. Everything's very ambient. There it is. I found it. If you folks don't know what those sounds are that's coming up, that's them breathing. We're literally at a point now where the patient is struggling to even breathe. This hits at home to me personally on a personal level here because I have asthma, and a lot of the times when I was very young, around like a kid or whatever, like 4 or 5 or whatever, I had a lot of lung problems, and I would have a lot of time struggling to breathe. There was even at one point I was like 5 or 6. Excuse me, I was 5 or 6 or whatever at some point, and my lungs literally collapsed, like they dropped, and we had to rush me over to the emergency room, and it was honestly a scary feeling to me. And this right here is bone chilling enough to me to be in this empty room of darkness, of nothing, and to, well, you're struggling to even breathe. It just doesn't, it just not only hits at home with me because of my asthma and everything, but it's one of the main things that I personally feel with this disease, to end up alone, and to not only end up alone with no one around, but to struggle to breathe, to fight to keep living just for a small bit and everything. It's excuse me. I don't know. It's honestly super chilling. I feel that this right here is one of the most scary moments in this entire project too. Oh God, it's chilling as all hell. Also, the title for this track here, I can't pronounce that word, but what that basically means, that word is, I know some of you folks are going to correct me, but what that word means is, it's the color of darkness that you see behind the darkness. It's, well, it's the color that you see with your eyes after your eyes adjusted to the darkness and everything, because that's what happens, right? When we're in enough darkness for a certain period of time, we'll start to see a certain color appear, like a certain type of black or whatever. Like, we still can't see well, but it may be some kind of blue or gray or whatever. It's like your eyes adjusting, and you can partially see what it is. That's the color of that, what this means here, and that's what this track means to me. Well, we've gone so deep and so far in everything that the only thing that we're suffering through now is legit breathing. It's bone chilling. I am not gonna be able to get this out of my head, knowing that I have something personal in my life that I suffer through, similar to lung issues and breathing issues and everything, and to have something like this is just, I don't know, it's true utter hell to me. Not through scary noises, not through monsters or demons or shadows or whatever the heck. It's being purely isolated in oblivion of darkness, and you're drowning in your own ocean just to breathe a bit longer, just to live for a second or two longer. That's what gets to me with the scariest thing, and that's what this track very well here makes me think of. Let's move on to the ending now. The ending of this project here is cold. It's depressing. It's very sad and everything, folks. This is not terminal lucidity. We do not have a life flash before your eyes. We do not have anything, honestly. Instead, we get water drops. The cover of this changes a bit as this final last track goes on, which is titled exactly At Midnight, as I feel. The cover for this is a circle of some sort of some sort of colors or whatever. It almost makes me think of those England church glass. There's England church glass where they'll have like different colorful glass, different types of glass on the window and everything, various colors like blue, red, green, yellow in England, especially at a church or whatever. That's what I kind of feel on this one here. I also feel that this is partially the funeral, but also partially where we finally let go and ascend. Similar to Everywhere at the End of Time with the very last track in that album with Place in the World Fades Away. Very much similar, only this time there's no recollection or memories. The cover changes. Here's where the cover will change over to, which now there's some whiteness at the center of this. Everything's mainly ambient. I hope I can capture this, because what you get with this, if you listen closely within this track here, this part here, there what appears to be some piano keys playing softly. Like that. Excuse me. I feel that this here represents the funeral that will end. Things aren't making sense, but at least things are blissful in a sense and peaceful. But we've sunken into the very bottom. There's very vague, soft piano keys that are playing. This makes me think of the funeral of the patient. Move on over. Interestingly enough, the cover starts changing. Not only that, this background will appear. For once, it was all blackness and everything, but now it's lightening up again. And it's blissful. Broken blissful, as I would describe it. Also, is it just me, or does this look like an eye? With this being if you look over here, with this being like the outline of, the eye, and this part over here being the pupil of the eye. I feel this represents the patient's very soul, and the last fire that burns in them. We're not in clear, we're not awake, we're not in terminal lucidity, folks. This is just the life that they all have left, scattered all over the place and shattered and broken other fragments. But as all things come to an end, folks, as everything that goes up must come down, we eventually have to face the very thing that we don't want, but happens to us very all at the end of our lives. Death. Because eventually, this all sadly disappears, even the circular theme. And what we get left with is this depressing, chilling loop here. And we slowly watch this piece here fade off. This could be the soul leaving the body, or This could just be the very life of the patient. Either way, whether it's through the representation of the very life or the soul of the body, this piece here slowly and utterly shrinks in smaller and smaller. I forgot to mention this little piece here. It changes over to a bit more of a circle. The music gets softer and softer, quieter and quieter, as this legit circle of life, our very essence of our soul, utterly and slowly, depressingly fades off. The only thing we get left with is a cold, soft whimper. It's like as if we were never even born. Actually, there's something in the description here that I'm gonna read here. But yeah, the circle, our very soul, our entire life, just fades out like that. We can now finally rest. The patient can finally rest and face eternal sleep. Their suffering has come to a great end, and they can finally be at peace with the sleep of death. No more suffering, no more pain, no more whatever, I lost my train of thought. The candle is stuffed, but as the smoke of the candle dissipates into the air, the wick still burns into the hearts of many. Yet those many become same. Some become few, and eventually few becomes one. Time becomes meaningless as it stretches interminably. Seconds become hours, become days, and become years. Even forever has its limits. All things end, and that one solo flame is indifferent to the winds that cast it away of the embrace. As their name, their face, and all of that eclipses, sorry if I can't read stuff correctly, who they were is lost. It is as if they were never ever born, never even having been a part of reality. And that, my friends, is the very ending of this part. But that doesn't have to end on such a somber note. In fact, there's a rare phenomenon. It happens rarely. It doesn't happen often with Alzheimer's or dementia patients, but there's a fascinating phenomenon called terminal lucidity, folks. And believe it or not, things don't have to end on such a cold winter silence. Yes, folks, believe it or not, there is an alternate take of Visit 36. Now, when I first heard about this and saw this, I was purely shocked, okay? I was utterly surprised and stunned by this because I genuinely thought that was the ending and everything, and that was a coming to a conclusion. But no, there's an alternate take of this, and it's far too good to surpass this, folks. And I think you folks know immediately where this is going off of right off the bat already here. So, in the first ending, because there's two endings, I kind of got you folks there on purpose with my wording. But yes, there was two endings to this. This right here, The Worlds Beyond, I feel is more of a, quote, what if, like a Marvel kind of what if in a sense. Well, what if we got terminal lucidity and whatnot? And I feel this perfectly represents the beauty of it and everything. It's truly, utterly insane, folks. So, obviously, we're right back to where we started with the first cover of Desert 46, right? With the same cover and everything I described, but there's something very unique that happens here. Instead of suffering through breathing or death taking us like a cold winter silence, instead we reawaken again, and it's truly beautiful. Yeah, it's already happening now, over 2 minutes, but the cover slowly shifts, and it will shift into this. I feel that this is a transition to reawaken again, renewal, a rebirth, if you will. It may not be completely of what terminal lucidity is, but nonetheless, it's beautiful. And we get a singer playing. We don't understand exactly what he's saying, but nonetheless, he's singing, and we can partially kind of understand what he's saying. I don't really know what to really say. With this here, it looks like a transition pause to me. But yeah, this guy here sings, and then we'll shift over to a beautiful piano. This right here looks like looking at water. It's wholesome, honestly, it's even crazy to see just color again. I know we saw color with the very last cover of Desert 46 and everything, but those colors seemed deteriorated and burned out and burned away, like as if they were in water and everything, and water took them over and decrepit them into an ugly husk. This is like beauty here. I picture them awakening in the middle of the night or whatever, and at peace with themselves or whatever, looking up at the night sky or at the water. I don't know if you folks can know the piano, but it's soft and it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Then the cover will change over to this candle here. This represents the patient's reawaken again. The candle has been lit after being scuffed out and turned to ash and everything. The color, the candle of their life is finally legit relit again, and they're starting to burn bright again, and it's honestly beautiful. It's even more beautiful to me how this candle is very small, because it's a small glimpse. It's the first step towards awareness or something, I feel. Surrounded in this husk of browns, reds, or whatever. And the music is honestly very beautiful and wholesome. There's a bunch of covers in this alternate take here. We also get another cover after this, which shows, to me, the patient's awareness taken off like a rocket, or rather shooting star, with this cover here. I'm not entirely sure what it is. This right here looks like an upside down shell with sands, I guess, over here, with stick over here. But this over here, to me, shows that they've relit again. Now they're zipping around like a shooting star, feeling the freedom of being awakened again. The cover will then change over to this, which I'm entirely sure what it is. The song here is crazy, and it's okay to me personally. I don't really know too much to say on this one here. The colors have now been completely, extremely saturated, almost too saturated, with this symbol up here now. That's my take on it here. What I really like is the ending of this cover here, because there's like a speech here.
You know,
yeah.
In life, each one of us has two windows. They both look out on the world around us. One is dark and clouded with the fears, the cares, the sorrows. The other one, the light shines through a window bright with the joy of living, with the smiles of those we love and those who love us. Each of these windows is ours for the choosing. Whichever one we look through, we must turn our back on the other. In moments of discouragement, we must remember this simple fact. There can be no failure, no defeat, while we stand facing the bright wind.
Beautiful choice of words. Also, the cover has become less saturated, but still overall very beautiful. It's very nice and everything. The songs here are overall peaceful. What the fuck was that? Was that gunshots or something? But anyway, the songs are very peaceful in this part. I picture this being on a joyful beach out. You can hear some voices in the background and echoes. It's really nice. It's truly crazy to make it this far too in as well. To be able to hear again, to see again, to feel again is truly crazy. Then the track becomes worrisome and staticky. This leads up to the next cover of this, which is a dream catcher with colors inside of it swinging over. This hill honestly is worrisome. And honestly, overall creepy and everything. I don't really have too much to really say on this part here other than it being eerie. We also cut on over to this cover here, which we are back over with the post-awareness, if you will, or the unawareness. The track here, the cover here, excuse me, is very kind of all over the place and fried up and burned. I feel that this is the representation that even if we're in the clear and we have terminal lucidity, that doesn't mean we're truly fully in the clear, you know. It just means that we can remember some parts, but there's still going to be a part of us here and there that are still going to be lost to the sands of time. Nothing lasts forever, but that doesn't mean we have everything truly. And while we have recollected our life and everything, there's still parts of it that will forever be destroyed thanks to the disease. That's my interpretation with this fading over to the Dreamcatcher and then fading into this. But nothing could truly, utterly shock me to the ending of this here. It starts off with this here, with beautiful song here and everything. I'm gonna take my glasses off for this because I'm not gonna be able to get through this without getting emotional. Nothing could prepare me for this.
Have you ever sat on the brow of a hill on a clear summer's night so quiet and still, and watched as the darkness drew back the curtain, looked at the glories, and then just a certain This is my Jeweler's. Have you watched as the moon then came into view, sending out its rays of a silvery hue, and a soft summer breeze caresses the lake, making diamonds in the moon's silver ray? Have you watched as the myriad stars passed by and thought of the infinite there in the sky, showing his wares all his glories on his, showing his jewelry, then thought as I did, this is my jewelry.
This ending here is truly a shell shock to me, folks. I don't think I need to I'm not even going to describe the cover because it truly speaks for itself.
Arrange for all those who will pick up the load and carry the burden, whatever the road. For those who are willing to strive and to learn the ways of the jeweler whose precious wares burn within my jeweler's.
It's truly beautiful.
I shall never cease to do what little I can to help the world advance along that road. So in this, my last good night, I thank you for the many opportunities you have given me for public service in war and in peace. I trust in that service, you find something worth it. As for the rest of it,
and war itself, can we forge against these enemies a grand and global alliance, north and south, east and west, that can assure a more fruitful life for all mankind? Will you join in that historic effort?
Gentlemen, get the thing straight once and for all. I'm going to step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
In a headlong jump to a predetermined conclusion. Life is visceral rather than intellectual. And the most visceral practitioners of life are those who characterize themselves as intellectuals. Truth is to them revealed rather than logically proved. And the principal infatuations of today revolve around the social sciences, those subjects which can accommodate any opinion.
Hands, the concrete and mortar, the guard posts, the machine gun towers, the dog runs, and the barbed wire can ever again take for granted his or her freedom or the precious gift that is
that was that for the first time in my life, I had accepted something that I hadn't paid for. And even though I honestly believe that the good have paid for it, should have put it in, I then picked up the phone and asked...
Pleasure of romance and beauty, coupled with utility as does aviation. Within itself, this industry embraces many of those scientific accomplishments which yesterday seemed fantastic impossibilities. The pilot, winging his way above the earth at 200 miles an hour, talks by radio telephone to ground stations or to other planes in the air. In thick weather, he is guided by radio beams and receives detailed reports of conditions.
Been given a bad break, but I've got an awful lot to look for.
We can stand up to him, or he may be free.
Just purely action. No context.
Sunlit upland. But if we fail, then the whole world, including all that we have known and cared for, will sink into the...
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You know how bad my voice sounds. Well, it feels just as bad. You know this baseball game of ours comes up from you.
I want to thank everybody, and especially to our friends in the music business and to our wonderful friends. essence of spirit is freedom.
Oh, dancing if there was no music. With the ocean thumping against the pilings of the house. And the sea breeze. Oh, yes. The wind.
Let's go, my cousin. I'll have it. What a wounded name. Things standing thus unknown shall live behind me. If thou didst ever hold me in thy heart, absent thee from felicity a while, and in this harsh world draw thy breath in pain to tell my story. Warlike noises.
Young Fortinbras, with conquests come from Poland, to the ambassadors of England gives this warlike volley.
Oh, I die, Horatio. This potent poison quite outgrows my spirit. I cannot live to hear the news from England, but I do prophesy the election light on Fortinbras. He has my dying voice, so tell him, with the occurrence more and less which have solicited. The rest is silent, 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 silent.
And that's not ending. So there's that cold ending. And then there's this, folks. Oh, God. I got like a hell assumption in my eye. Alright, folks. Let's wrap this bow up once and for all. Alrighty. That was truly some heavy stuff, folks. That it's excuse me. It's crazy to me with this whole thing, right? It's honestly insane. I was not expecting that the first time around with that alternate take and everything, and I was not expecting for it to hit me that hard the first time. You know, I'm not gonna lie. You know, that was definitely something that struck a chord with me. I'm gonna try not to cry again, but but yeah. Overall, folks, genuinely, my love for what Third Sigma, Phi, or whatever, you know, the Artiflex, or Artifix, whatever, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right or whatever, but, nonetheless, anyway, The Grand Decline is truly an amazing work, I feel. And it's something that I've been excited for to finally be completed and everything. And like I said, all the way back from part one here, thanks to Miss Widowmaker with her video that she made, I was immediately blown away. And I I do these dementia music video retakes, these dementia music analyze videos because I generally have a passion for this odd, bizarre genre of music. I call it dementia music since that's what it's mainly about and everything, and it touches me in a way to use a disease or some form of something that we don't fully understand, but we can all relate to in some formal way, and to put that in a musical form, I feel, is truly something beautiful and amazing here. You know, it's what made me started all the way back with all the grand memories of all the lovely years by Dante Timberwolf. You know, that it's still one of my favorite fan albums of the Everywhere at the End of Time. And it was similar enough with Miss Widowmaker when she made her video when the project was halfway done. And I've been super damn excited to finally cover it. And it's something that I feel that this project here is something truly and utterly special. You know, with how it's presented, with how it's made and everything. And it's just something that I don't think I'm ever gonna forget for a long time, folks. Um, it pushed me similarly with Miss Widowmaker, how she just couldn't help but wait to make a video on the Grand Decline. It was similar enough with me 2 or so years ago when I made all the grand memories of all the lovely years, because I still I don't think I really see any video covering about um all the grand memories of all the lovely years. I have thought of in the past to do a remake of that video, and to actually give my thoughts or whatever and read the descriptions properly and everything, because that first video is not the best, okay? And I felt like I over apologized a bit much and everything, but that's because I wanted to be super respectful, and especially with something that's as serious as dementia and that affects everyone and everyone's lives and everything. And overall, I do these videos here covering Everywhere at the End of Time fan albums, the community or whatever. You know, I've already done a couple of them by now. I've done all the grand memories of all the lovely years by Dante Timberwolf. Then I did Everywhere at the End of Time by The Caretaker. And then I did Everywhere But the Center of Your Mind, which is pretty much similar, but it's about dementia, not dementia, depression, excuse me. It's about depression. And that was pretty hard, honestly, but I felt that that project was unique and everything purely based on it being about depression instead of dementia. And I feel like those two are both a yin yang in a sense, you know, with the yin yang symbol, with one being white, with the other black or whatever. They correlate with each other, you know, they flow with each other like ice and water or snow and water in a sense, you know, or cold water, you know. It's like they're different, but they both have very similar qualities and everything, you know. And I explained my feelings on that and everything, that project. And I overall, I plan on covering more fan albums of this dementia music genre down the road, but I do it months in advance, or I do it separate on that on purpose within 3 to 4 months on purpose, because it is a sensitive topic and it's something that I take very seriously. I take these videos to heart, and it's something that I genuinely, you know, take extremely in everything, because these projects here, the reason I make these types of videos here is that these overall mean something to me, and I generally love to share them and express my feelings on these albums here and everything, and to shine light on this bizarre music genre and everything. It's definitely not for everyone, I gotta say. It's definitely very odd for it to call it music in a sense, especially when you get to post awareness. Like, and yeah, it sounds weird and kind of effed up on the surface to say that I enjoy dementia music. Like, what the hell? You join, you like to listen to music that symbolizes Alzheimer's? Like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, it sounds odd and everything, and don't get me wrong, it is, but there's a reason why I take my time with these. I try to be very I try to be very taboo with these and everything, because it is a sensitive topic, and I feel like it's overall better if I'm too serious and I'm too um stern's not what I'm looking for. It's overall better, I feel, if I'm too serious and too um you know too serious, too a bit too professional, a bit too perfection in a sense, than to be a bit goofier and to be a bit lighthearted, because dementia is a very serious thing. All mental disease and negativity on any level, right, are serious, in one way or another. But when you have something that not only affects you but affects lives, it's truly a shell shock to me and everything. And I'll rather be a bit of a perfectionist, more of a perfectionist, a bit more of, an emotional, I'll rather be a bit more, super dark and everything with these topics and with this type of music, than to be a bit goofy and a bit lighthearted, because like I said, it is a very real and very depressing thing. And I pick these albums months in advance. Like, I was already thinking of doing something else before this, honestly. And when I legit saw, by the time scene 7, yeah, when scene 7 came, at the time and everything, and I looked over on my YouTube feed and everything, it's like, holy shit, visits 28 to 31 or whatever, yeah, that's out already. I figured immediately that this is going to be next that I'm going to cover. And I'm definitely going to cover some more again, folks, so stay tuned for that. I'm not going to say which album I'm going to cover next down the road, but I'm going to take months in advance. 4 to 5, maybe 3 at the earliest, but don't take my word for it or anything. And that's why I take months in advance to do this, because I feel like if I spammed these or did these weekly or even monthly, I feel that it would be truly disingenuous and everything, because last thing I ever want is to spam something that's very serious and that very much affects lives. Even if it's not physically, it's still psychologically and mentally. That's the thing that gets me with dementia and everything. And my overall take with these albums that I cover, right? Everywhere at the end of time, everywhere but the center of your mind, everywhere in the beginning of nowhere, nowhere at the millennium of space. Um, what else is there? There's a bunch of them, believe me, folks. There's everywhere in the beginning of nowhere, nowhere at the millennium of space, both reduxed. Um, VCJD or whatever. That's kind of a shorty one. I might do that. Where it's like a pyramid, purely that gets decrypted and everything. Excuse me. Oh god, there's a bunch of them. There's even one that is based on overground memories of the love years. I can't think of it now. Um, but yeah, Forevermore and Nevermore, I truly wonder when that's gonna get done. That honestly surprised me, funny enough, because I was just browsing through one day and I saw Stage 5, Act 1, or whatever finally came. And it's like, holy shit, you're still here. It's been like, what, 2.5 years or something? I don't know if that's ever gonna get released or whatever, honestly. But yeah, it overall, there's a ton of these. Some are better than others, some are worse than others. There's even some joke albums which I'm just like, no thanks. No, even if they're not made to be taken seriously, to me it's just like, just why? Why on that, you know? But overall, back to what I was saying before, folks. All of these music, this weird genre of music that I cover, that I talk about, and that I showcase and express and everything with this fan projects of every out there at a time and everything. All these projects leave me with a core idea at the end of the day to not really be afraid. It used to be of being afraid of dementia and showing its true horrors and to express how truly scary and depressing it can truly be to lose yourself, to lose everything slowly but surely and everything. But a positive take I look on this overall, right? Because you can always be optimistic in some formal way, is to take in the moments and memories that you have now, to take in the joy that you have now, not to worry on the future of whether this happens to you or not, you become one of them or whatever with dementia, but to embrace the moment now, not stressing on tomorrow, not getting depressed on the past of what things once used to be, but to live in the moment now, to be here today, to be here this very hour, this minute, this second, as I'm speaking to you folks, that's what I overall take from this, to truly embrace life, to, live your life to the fullest while you still can. And I feel that that's overall a beautiful thing. And it's truly crazy to me, folks. Think of what I just took you folks through with this video trilogy of this album, if you will, through the joys and everything of the first visit, to the slight confusion, to a missing piece, to scene 2 where things start declining and everything, to the depressing avail of a missing meaning in the memories, to the broken spell and the depression and everything, the diagnosis, to everything slowly getting worse and worse and depressing and everything, to the point to where everything just becomes a hazy fog of confusion and chaos, to finally eventually simmering down to a soft, cold, isolated oblivion of winter and snow, to eventually their death. It's truly a crazy phenomenon to even think on, or even to picture and even comprehend, imagine. Well, the world that you're in is so empty and a void and oblivion and everything that there's practically nothing and everything. It's truly a horrifying thing and everything, folks. Getting old is scary enough as it is, Your physical appearances change again. Your movements may be restricted. Your memory in general gets lost overall. In general, it's not because of Alzheimer's that you. It's because of Alzheimer's that you lose memory even more so. But just in general, you start to forget things even more so. But we all forget things. Your movement is very restricted sometimes. Maybe you can't do the things that you used to. Your world alone gets smaller overall as you generally start to enter into the old age. That's scary and depressing enough as it is to rely on some help. Maybe you need a cane to help walk on, or a wheelchair. support services and everything. And while that's overall fine and alright and everything, I think it's an overall kind of shell shock to elderly folks and kind of a depressing sinking reality. Well, now that you can't do the things that you once used to do back when, you know, your body was stronger and everything, and your body starts to shut down. That's scary enough as it is, folks. Getting old is scary enough as it is. And when you sprinkle along that horrific dementia, Alzheimer's, and everything on top of that cake frosting, it just makes it even more so horrifying because your world sinks in already as it is when you get old. Top it off with dementia, and it's no wonder it's such a horrific, horrifying feeling. I used to think that your brain shrinks purely because of Alzheimer's and dementia. And honestly, that kind of seems logic on the surface, right? Genuinely and everything. And that's what I would think of before. Well, with your brain rotting, your neurons decaying and everything, things getting mixed up and stuff. I used to think that it was because of dementia or Alzheimer's that your brain would shrink. But no, it turns out your brain already shrinks in general as you get older, regardless of that. It's just part of age and everything. And overall, folks, what I want you folks to overall take from this, not just with this series of videos, not just with what I'm going to cover down the road, months in advance or whatever, but what I want you folks to overall take from anything, and this is with any content I do, whether it's through the fun types of horror that I do with the MOP Horror AUs, whether it's through horror gameplay or whatever for fun, whether it's through my emotional feelings that I express something on, whether it's through, this or that, or a gameplay, whatever it may be on this channel. What I folks want you all to overall take from this is that the most important thing more than anything to me is the inside. Yes, the outside is important too. It's important to be healthy, to have a healthy digestion. It's important to take care of yourself physically, to, maybe put on deodorant, of course, to have clothes, to help yourself be more confident with a change of clothing or whatever. The outside's important, but I always feel like the inside, mentally, psychologically, is a teeny bit more important than the outside. Because that's where the true gears lie in, right, folks? That's where things, truly happen a bit more. And it's crazy that everything that we know, everything that we've learned through, everything that we understand, everything that we've accomplished in life and humanity and everything, everything we invented, everything that we've built, everything that we've shown, that we've teach, that we've, learned from, for both good or bad, everything that we've done all comes back to right here. Your mind is truly a powerful tool, folks. It's truly amazing what can happen when you truly use your brain. And the fact that our very existence is not based on the world. I mean, it is to an extent, but to me, it's not based on the world, or it's not based on spirituality or anything to me. To me, it's based on the very essence of your brain. The reason you can feel, both, in the feeling sense of, the inner feeling of love, sadness, anger, whatever, and the physical feeling of touch and everything is both based on your brain. The reason you can see me, and I guess I can't see you, but I can see myself, but the reason you can see things is based on your eyes. The reason you can hear is based on your brain. The reason you can see is based on your eyes. The reason I'm talking to you, yeah, it's based on my voice box, but it's also based on my logic and my explaining and everything, and overall everything, right? The five senses or sixth sense or whatever, right? My voice, the hearing, this microphone I'm talking right into directly, this webcam I'm looking at you folks directly at, the clothes I'm wearing, the life I'm in, the bike I have, this watch I have, which is a nice, birthday watch. But overall, folks, everything all comes back to here. It all comes back to your very brain, folks. If it wasn't for this very tool inside this skull of ours, we truly would not be here. Sure, our heart would be beating. We would be alive, but we would be more like existing, not living. And I feel like living is truly, well, beauty shines in life. Living to me isn't about being alive and being able to do things. Living is, well, we can customize life. Well, we can show expressions, do art, cook something, I don't know, make music on dementia or something, Living is, well, we take life and paint a beautiful color on it to make a truly beautiful and unique painting on it and a way to express it. Some may agree with you, some may disagree with you, some may have a bitter taste towards it, some may love it, or some may just click with it and may get your point. Others may not. That's the true beauty of life, I feel, is not the fact of color, but the fact that there's so many variations of colors with belief systems, understanding, opportunities, disopportunities, ways to help improve society, or sometimes in the opposite in some sense too. But, overall, a beautiful thing. And all of this all just comes back to, your very brain, the invention of fire, the invention of the wheel, the light bulb, electricity, freaking, AI in a sense, all of this, all of that. There's not one thing that we have not done without using our brain, folks. And the heart may be the most powerful muscle in our body, and that keeps us alive, but it's our brain right here that keeps us evolving, folks. Protein, for years, centuries, millennials, it's all backed up by science that it helps improve our brain and grow and everything. And if it wasn't for our brain, we would not be here today. I would not have this computer. I would not have this channel. I would not be able to talk to you folks. We would not have houses. We would not have this very society that we've been living in for the past century and decades and everything, folks. Maybe even millennials, We all would not be here this very moment, here and now, if it wasn't for this tool right here. It's not a matter of living, folks. It's a matter of understanding. And when you have a disease that slowly takes all of that away, it's truly scary. It doesn't matter if you understand it. It doesn't matter if you can picture in a sense of what's going on, or if that's not really the case for you or whatever, because to a dementia patient, especially when we sink in so low to visit 40, I guess, just keep adding in the numbers of visits or whatever. But when you sink in so low to, well, there's nothing, that's all there is going to be. Because at the end of the day, folks, what this music album that I just showed you in throughout these 3 videos here, and what I've showed you with Everywhere at the End of Time, and with all the grand memories of all the lovely years, these videos, these musics help give you a perspective eye on the dementia patient and everything. And I overall find that very fascinating and horrifying more than anything. What I want you folks to take at the end of the day with all of this is that music is truly a powerful thing. Art is truly a powerful thing, and music can help us feel good, it can help us feel, giddy and dancy or whatever. Music can make us feel sad and depressed and everything. Expression overall in general is truly a masterpiece in of itself, for both good or bad, whether it's in the highest quality or lowest quality. Expression is truly something in of itself, and that's why I make these dementia music review covers and everything, covering dementia music and everything from time to time, because this overall real genre has something to me. It means something to me, and I don't mind getting dark on something, especially something that's very real and that's very serious. I know I've been rambling on, but overall, folks, I want to wrap this up and everything. Overall, folks, I genuinely love what Fi has done here and everything, and I overall love the Caretaker fandom and everything. It warms my heart in a bizarre way, to have folks that make music based on, their grandpa or a friend or whatever. I know it seems weird and bizarre and everything, but it just kind of warms my heart. And while all these stories, these inner characters, these expressions are very sad and horrifying and everything, it's rightfully sad and depressing and everything. But my overall take from this is that it's a very real and raw thing. It does happen to people. People do get it. We all forget on some level. It happens. It's within the human code. It's within our brain. It happens. Yeah, it's scary. But things don't have to end depressingly. And sometimes there doesn't have to be a happy ending overall. Folks? Sometimes a dark, cold story with a chilling, depressing ending is enough for people to relate and empathize and sympathize with, because at the end of the day, we're all going to have to accept death at some point. I don't want to accept death eventually. I know you folks sure as hell don't. No one wants death. No one wants to die. No one, none of our stories want to end. No one wants their book to be closed at the end of the day, but it's bound to happen at some point down the road, depressingly enough. But I don't want you folks to be afraid or to be scared of death. I want you folks to instead embrace life for what you have now. The lesson in Puss in Boots 2, in a sense. Well, instead of running away and always fearing death that comes for you, instead just live to the fullest that you have now. And that goes the same thing with dementia or any disease, or even if your body shuts down the road and everything. Just enjoy life to the fullest, because life is truly too short, folks. Things fly on by. I still remember like it was just yesterday when I was only a kid, and for the very first time I truly tried on my glasses, because I kept breaking them because I didn't understand back then and everything, and they felt weird on my face. And it's truly something I'm not going to forget, when I first put on my glasses and where I can truly see things, in great detail. I still remember my graduation. I still remember this, remember that. I'm not going to forget those for a very long time. And there's probably similar stuff that you folks have that you're probably not going to forget for a very long time. Especially when it's the first time around and everything. And life's too short to be isolated, to be lonely. Life's too short to, hold grudges of negativity and everything, because there's just so much more to it. To learn a new culture, a new language or whatever. Maybe learn a new genre. Maybe play a new game you never played before. Maybe try something you never done before. Whether, yeah, sometimes it can be dumb and cost someone's life, at some point, eventually if they're not smart enough. But, you know, living life to the fullest, I feel, is truly the best way to live. Not by doing insane stuff, Mr. Beast style. You jumped off the highest building ever while freaking, I don't know, playing a guitar while riding I don't know, a freaking dragon. And as the dragon lands or whatever, you freaking do a backflip through a fire ring that was falling over. And like it doesn't have to be the most insane, back crazy insane stunt ever with freaking explosions and everyone's like, wow, holy shit, look at that guy. He's freaking Superman or something. It doesn't have to be anything chaotic and extreme with the biggest bang and booms and stuff. But, live your life to the fullest, folks. I truly mean that, and well, yeah, I'm still am depressed to an extent on myself. I don't think that's ever gonna go away. And I know a lot of you folks, may be depressed, but I feel like at the end of the day, there's opportunities everywhere. There's always there's always another way to, get out of things and everything. I truly feel that way, and living life to your fullest, like I said, is truly the best way to live. Sometimes even reading a new book can make your life new, exciting and everything. I know we don't really read much books anymore or whatever, but you know what? Maybe try something. You never know. Take a lesson from Rainbow Dash in that one episode where she didn't want to read Daring Do because it looked lame and boring and it's just words and everything. There's no action and stuff. Boo, but as soon as she opened it and started reading it, she started getting invested in it. And she's like, holy shit, this book's awesome. I feel like that in itself is to where you can live your life, maybe not necessarily to the fullest, but at least make it exciting, refresh it, like adding a new recipe to something you like to make it even spicier or to have a different kind of flavor, whether that's through, good or bad or whatever, or whether you like it or not. But it's important to try new things and to be open-minded and just to see, I tried sushi the other day recently on my birthday, and because I kept saying I don't really like sushi, but I never really tried it. I had a taste of it and I didn't like it years ago, but I felt like, you know what, let's really try it. Let's let the flavors really sink in now. And honestly, I kind of liked it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it either, and yeah, I probably wouldn't try sushi again or go for it, but I still tried it nonetheless, and I gave it a shot and everything. I feel like life in a nutshell is, well, we can truly shine when we step outside our comfort zone. It's one thing to be in our comfort zone and to enjoy that and to get joy from that and everything, but it's also another to step out and to just see what the world offers, for better or for worse. You gotta see. You can't stay in the safe zone forever, folks, because eventually life will get dull and boring at some point. One way or another. So there's nothing wrong with. Excuse me. There's nothing wrong with stepping out. I know I've been rambling for like 30 minutes or so. I want to wrap this up and everything. This video is long enough as it is, and I'm just making it even longer by the second. But overall, folks, take care of yourselves in whatever way there is, folks. Take care of yourself physically, take care of yourself mentally, and overall, just it's important to be happy. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be depressed. There's no shame in being depressed and, dare I say, even wanting to play Russian roulette. Especially if it's rightfully so or whatever. But just know that when a door closes, a window always opens, folks. There's always another outcome. There's always a way out. I truly mean by that 100%. And sometimes I forget that myself, especially when I get depressed. But overall, folks, I truly just want to thank you all so much for taking this journey with me and walking together through thick and thin of these visits of this disease and experiencing the horrors and everything. It felt comforting in a way to go through this whole thing. These free videos and everything. It felt comforting in a way knowing that you folks are going to watch and you folks are going to like and comment or whatever. It felt comforting in a way, despite it just being me sitting here recording like I'm doing now. It felt less lonely knowing that you folks are going to watch this and, take time and, listen to what I have to say and everything. It felt comforting in a way, honestly, despite me just being me here on this very chair, using this very computer, recording this very video to upload it for you folks to see and everything. But truly, I just want to say thank you for walking me through this, folks. And overall, take care of yourselves. I know it's scary, I know it's horrible and everything, but I feel that the best things of art and everything is when the true colors shine. No matter how horrifying or scary it is, or even how beautiful it can be. Art is truly a hell of a thing. And I am not going to stop anytime soon for covering these dementia music albums and covers and everything, because like I said, these all mean something to me. But I'm going to take my time with these, and I'm very slow at it because, like I said, I take these videos extremely to heart and everything. And I want this weird, bizarre genre to get out there, similar to James with his hyper hot music and everything. It's similar enough with these. Only with these, I'm much more careful with these because purely that they're based on a real disease that affects real people, and that is overall a very scary feeling. But it's nice to know that I'm not alone. So, with all that being said and all the way, folks, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for sticking with me through this horrible journey and beauty in some sense. And thank you all for just walking together with this. There's definitely going to be more to come for this. There's definitely going to be more happier, videos, I guess, that are going to come. What the frick, was that lightning or something now? I saw it through the reflection back there, but anyway, folks, I have rambled way too long than I felt that I needed, but overall, folks, just truly thank you for sticking with me, and thank you all for watching and sticking around on this journey here, folks. It's still not over just yet, folks, as I am still going to cover these types of videos and everything, but there's still plenty more to come and everything with AUs, gameplay, reactions, or all sorts of stuff and content and everything here, folks. But as of now, our journey ends here for now. So, with all that said, folks, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment. It's this way for more. And I'll see you all sooner or later. Bye-bye, everyone.